Yes, I am here to get into my 10 favorite scenes in the film Vertigo, which is directed by Alfred Hitchcock, released in the year 1958. And I absolutely love the scenes with James Stewart talking of Barbara Bell Geddes. This displays an ultimate kind of devastating sort of arc as the story progresses. You kind of get every scene with her, and it feels like it's more on a downbeat kind of perspective, which really just shows how much Stewart is just shifting into this sort of psychological breakdown. And this entire sequence is just it's just a montage sequence that's very extended, and Stewart's essentially spying on Kim Novak. And this displays just some of the most beautiful garden imagery I've ever seen around. Just such a mesmerizing soundtrack by Bernard Herrmann. I feel like this is just one of those endlessly rewatchable kind of segments I've ever seen in a film. Extremely subtle, extraordinary, just extraordinarily mesmerizing in its execution. That feels beautiful and haunting at the same time. And then there's a whole segment where Stewart and Novak go to the woods, and Novak's kind of going on about her history and her rooty connections and all of this. And it just starts to get Stewart's obsessions kind of brewing big time. Meanwhile, and this just really gets intense, especially when you get to a big moment whenever Stewart and Novak kiss out in the ocean. And yeah, then you get the other side of Novak and Stewart going to his chapel, only just to be a big twist and turn kind of happens from there. It really gets twisted and it's insane. Just really nightmares and warped for its time. Again, this feels very much like a 1970s foundation. The way this faces out, this feels like Hitchcock's just most personal, most deeply laid forward-thinking kind of project. As he really put his most honest, raw, bare thoughts into this entire project, and it kind of feels like a nightmare is gradually happening, and it feels like it's just sort of exploring all kinds of warped emotions. It reminds me a lot of David Lynch. I think most of all Hitchcock films, and it feels like this is just a revelation for getting into just like the scene where Novak's writing this letter. Like this whole segment's just really mesmerizing, and I love the lighting, especially. There's like this kind of green lighting that happens as Stewart is just as she meets a Stewart, and Stewart's just really caving in big time to these dark depths of obsession that he has with himself. He has these impulses, and he kind of just follows a very warped kind of angle and perception on all of this, which escalates to a very haunting finale. I mean, this ending is extraordinarily haunting, and it feels like everything is just fallen. This has just fallen apart completely in Stewart. And this ultimate meltdown happens, which is just an ultimate tragedy in conclusion. Which this is just such an incredibly rewatchable film from start to finish, and it's a perfect deep dive into what obsession, delusional pattern, and psychological torment add up as. It's just new details about James Stewart's warped fixation on Kim Novak, which makes for just a really mesmerizing sort of depiction of Robert Hitchcock of just exploring raw mood and just again haunting atmosphere. It feels like this is what it is to kind of be directly in the mind of someone who's obsessive with just all kinds of repetition kind of going on in cycles, just repeated things. It feels very disturbing when you watch it, and somehow just has a slow pace about it, a mysterious element that just it really serves the story incredibly well from start to finish. It's mesmerizing.